Welcome to One Word a Day. I'm Sophie, your pilot into the universe of Chinese. Let's continue the second stanza of the poem about the traveler's melancholy. Okay, 姑苏城外寒山寺. So last time, the first stanza, we talked about 霜满天, frost-filled sky. And here we have 寒山寺. Even if we're talking about a temple, but the temple name is Hanshan, frozen mountain. So frozen mountain is there. Both the sky and the mountain. Frozen, even if it's a name, but it's made of this poem, part of the picture. So you have this chill, this sense of low temperature environment. And 姑苏城外, 姑苏城 is another way to say the Suzhou, which is southern part of China, kind of, I guess, travel destination in southern part of China with a little canals and arches of stone-made bridges. It's a typical southern China, we call it Jiangnan River, south of beauty. It's a subtle beauty. It's not a grand, but it's a very well manicured, trimmed city over there. And that's another name for that. And we call it Gusu Cheng. So we talk about the exact location of this poem. Where does traveler travel to? And because it's along the Yangtze River, the long river in China, so you can see it's a kind of like the big lake in America or the Mississippi River because it's connecting different locations. So it's part of the trade route along the river. So that's where the traveler traveled to. 夜半钟声到客船. 夜半, night half means midnight. Okay, Chinese say night half. And 钟声, the sound of a bell. So over here, in the West, in the English culture, Christianity, right, the town would have the church bells, and the church bell may serve as a gathering call for people to worship together. And in Chinese culture, this bell in a city used to be a timekeeper. When the bell ring, then we know, which time marker it is. It is midnight. Maybe the bell make a sound at midnight to mark the time. And then this midnight bell make the sound travel to 客船 guest boat. So that means this boat carry people as a guest, not the locals. Again, as an outsider. He doesn't belong here. He doesn't come from here. So he feel this guest is his identity as a traveler to another person, another location, not hometown. And this is the traveler's sorrow continued. So I guess there's not really a moral of the story except that the sentiment of the scenery is quite of a ancient times a trade route along this river, and then he hear the sound on the guest boat, and that's the end of the story. Just a traveler's experience. Okay, 姑苏城外. I translate as a sister-in-law. So originally it means mother-in-law. Mother-in-law is made of old or ancient woman. Woman symbol on the left is a behavior and physical, the hip captured in here, the folded hand. And as a generic woman symbol, it actually means unmarried woman originally, because after marriage, the woman's symbol will add two nipples to mean motherhood, breastfeeding, motherhood. And now when it pairs with this ancient character, which is number 10, a cross symbol, roping, tying knot means number 10, and mouse symbol means a generation, 10 generations, about 200 years old. And that to Chinese time scale in ancient times, that's enough to make you ancient, considered ancient. And ancient plus woman symbol means old woman. So it's just like in English, we have old man means your dad, right? Old woman in Chinese means your mother-in-law. Because as the language user, most likely language users are men. And okay, your in-laws, probably this is from the woman's perspective, actually, when you talk about your mother-in-law. Well, sure. Okay. Mother-in-law actually could be either way. Because in ancient times, most language users are men. So probably this is the wife's mother, right? And in men's perspective, that's old woman. Um, okay. And I kind of suspect that because after marriage, the woman will live with the man's household, and the man could possibly live with his original household. So actually, the wife's mother-in-law, probably you don't see it that often, so it shouldn't be that part of the picture as we would imagine. But in any case, this old woman, this mother-in-law, extended into sister-in-law. So any in-laws that's on the wife's side or on the husband's side. Okay, that's Gu. Gusu is a kind of a nickname for the city. I'm not sure if that, in that city, which Su is a type of a plant. And this perilla, I guess, is edible plant. And the city marked with this type of plant, probably because they produce a lot of those. And I'm not sure if this gusu as a nickname, if the sister-in-laws kind of plenty of them in that city, that's nicknamed by that. It's all mystery. It's all lost in history, so we don't exactly know. Then the su plant in this picture is double trident shape is a plant symbol. And then we have fish. We have the scales of the fish, and this is supposed to be the head of the fish. And then supposed to be the tail of the fish or the fish on top of fire, meaning it's edible. You can cook the fish. And then we have the crop symbol, canopy of the tree, root of the tree connect with the trunk, and when it's ripe, the tip will bend. And this is the crop. Crop, fish, plant made this particular type of plant symbol, pronounced as su. And I'm guessing this is probably as a part of the cuisine that you eat together with fish or with the grain food. You have carb and protein, and this is vegetable all together. It's possible like that. Okay, cheng, we have the soil symbol on the left side that give you a categorical, like this is something we talk about made from soil. And then we have the two weaponry. One is it's a kind of a sharp pointed near body weaponry, and this is a spear. This is a long range weaponry. So you have both short and long, marks a spectrum of weapons. And then these you can view it as places that hold weapons, or you can view it as high ground. It depends on how you can interpret it. So top left corner can mean the high ground. So you have high ground and the weapons over there, and then you have a soil. Together means city. You can view it as fortress. So I guess in ancient times, the city means defendable place. So you need to have some sort of high ground, and you have weapons to guard this high ground as fortress, as in city walls, right? And then the soil is the material, build the walls of the city. So altogether, this defendable high ground place made of high soil walls made into city. Why? Have the moon symbol and then this fortune telling. So vertical line, horizontal line attached to it was said to be ancient fortune telling tool. too. And why it means outside, according to scholars, which are, they speculate as well to explain, try to connect the dot, because now we know it means outside. But why is made of moon and is a fortune telling tool? So scholars imagine it to be that why we use fortune telling. We use fortune telling to forecast or predict who will win. Just like the election, right? Here, fortune telling, all kinds of people, commentators come out to say who they think will win. And people gamble side to say who they think would win. So this fortune telling or forecast or predicting behavior throughout history, ancient times, just vertical line, horizontal line, somehow is a fortune telling sign. And when it's connected to the nighttime means emergency fortune telling. You have to try to predict what's going to happen, even if it's a moon time. And that implies that the enemy, the outsiders, the intruders of your city were probably pressing pretty close. That's why you have this emergency nighttime fortune telling. Anyways, it's a long loop of logic to deduce why it means outside. And this concept of this outside versus inside, throughout this poem, before I actually try to make sense of the poem, I didn't really think about this sense of outsider, because traveler is this outsider going to somewhere, right? So 城外寒山寺, this sense of boundary, this outside, this is the in today's reading, at least in my thinking of today, that this means outside. It's connected to the sense of solitude or loneliness that you have to burden with you because you're traveling outside your community. You have the sense of sense of outsider. I'm an immigrant, so I'm totally can relate to the sense of outsider. Somebody moved to this place, but I've been here long enough. I feel like more of an outsider, insider. I can switch these two perspectives simultaneously. Okay. 姑苏城外. Now it talks about to the exact location, which even today we still have it, still a popular tourist site. And then outside the city boundary, 寒山寺. So monasteries or temples normally high on the mountains and away from the city life. So they're not part of the civic society, so to speak. So they're outsiders in that sense. They opt out of the social, rat race, so to speak. So 寺 is this such a place, but the 寺 originally, before it became a temple, actually it's a bureaucracy. It's the place. It's almost like the Department of Agriculture in ancient society, because agrarian society, farming is the ultimate, most important thing. It's about the major production, major labor force or resources of the society focused on, right? Before industrialization, farming is the number one thing. And then we have the plant symbol on top of this ground. So the ground is a plant, right? And then we have a three-finger hand symbol with this pointer there, means 1 inch down. And this means measured farming. So we have a measured farming together means people who have the knowledge to tell farmers, generations of farmers, how to do it right. And that's critical to the survival of a whole society. And that Department of Agriculture eventually detached from the agriculturing or from the bureaucracy. It became a temple. I guess temple in a sense is as an outsider or somebody who opt out. They are the people who kind of know how to do things, or at least how to control themselves because they meditate all day long, something like that. So this measured existence, so to speak, become our temple or ministry. Okay, shan simply is a visual, 3 peaks to mean a range of mountains. And han, we have this Dome with a chimney means a shelter. And how to express this code? We use four of this trident-looking thing. You see two here means a cluster, means in general plant-based. Now we have four of them, means it's stacked up, cover the top and down, all stacked up with such plant. And I would imagine that's the ancient time of insulating, how to stay warm in cold weather. When they don't have a heater, obviously, how are you going to survive cold weathers? It's by stacking up such clay, not clays, haze inside the room. And this person kind of hide right in the middle to stay warm. And this two arrow pointing thing, probably we can visualize it as a crystallized, frosty, just chill, this coldness in a solid format that's seeping up from the ground up. And then all this person is trying to insulate with the hay, and under that shelter, the whole thing describes how you combat cold weather. And we use that behavior, that insulation, to mean what you insulate from, which is frozen, which is freezing temperature. Okay, 姑苏城外寒山寺 gives you the sense of inside, near side is this the traveler's perspective angle. Is we know it's by the river, right, facing the maple tree, and that river probably crisscross through this 姑苏城, this city. So within that city perspective, then this person is made aware that there is this frozen mountain temple outside the city, far away, because this traveler heard midnight, the bell sound, and the sound travel all the way to the guest boat. Okay, 夜半 midnight. That's Chinese say cut the night in half. That's our midnight. And this night is expressed by two armpits. Okay, you have this figure, almost like a human figure thing, right? Starfish human figure. And they originally have two dots in there to signify what's under your armpits. So your two armpits. And armpits itself, I mean, even if it's all later day people's interpretation, armpits eventually used as a pretty abstract linking term. Means you're talking about something and also talking about something else. It becomes like we're talking about the left arm and right arm. Kind of like in English, on the one hand, on the other hand, we use our body parts to connect our thought parts, different parts of thought. So Chinese use armpit and armpit. Now, we turn the right armpit, instead of the armpit abstraction dot, we use a moon symbol, which is a crescent shape of things. Under the armpit means the moon connecting, because armpit means connecting, right? And you have the moon connecting one day to another, and that's our night definition. But we have this cut in half image already on the top, and then we have the bottom, which is the ox symbol. I have a whole episode talk about what is ox. Ox is a Chinese way to abstract the animal ox, which is one of the major farming animals in Chinese culture. It's important to us. And then it's made of this coordinate system, just horizontal and vertical line to give you the dimensions of it. And then the featuring of the character is the horn of the ox. And that's our ox. And here we have this almost like the ox, and also share this vertical line extended all the way through in the middle, passing through this two left and right pieces. That means cut the ox in half. Okay, so I guess I'm not sure about the butchering process, if the butchers, when they have a whole ox, what's their first cut. But here it says cut the ox in half. And we use that ox half to mean half everything else. It's generalized in all kinds of cutting things in half. Okay, 钟 is made of the metal symbol on the left side. We've seen it many times. I'm not going to repeat it, but it means minerals gathering underground. And then on the right side is the act of farming. Okay, the act of farming is made of, it's a little bit complicated here. Okay, we have the tree symbol here, two arches connected by vertical line. And then we have the sun symbol, the oval shape with horizontal line, right? The sun behind the tree means it's early morning. And then we have the soil symbol, which is the ground, the first level, horizontal line, ground level. Vertical line means something growing in the ground. A second horizontal line means the surrounding of that growing thing, which means the soil. So the key point, the attention is drawn by this indicator, the second abstract horizontal line, to mean it's the ground, underneath the ground, around the growing thing that we're talking about. So it's the soil. So we have the timing, which is the sun rising just above, barely above the tree trunks, like embedded in the tree trunk. And then we have the place above the soil. We have the time and space. It's where you conduct farming, but who is conducting this farming? In another word, we have this human figure sitting on top of it. That's doing the planting thing. But here we have two horizontal lines with this arch pointing downward, almost like a needle pointing down. And that we can view it actually in two ways. There are two explanations. Let's see which one makes sense. One version is two horizontal lines with this arch pointing downward is an ancient type of corporal punishment tool. Whoever got punished like that would be regarded as a slave labor. So besides the farming, most people do hard labor as farmers in ancient times. Another group of people who would do heavy labor of farming are the captured slaves who have sinned, who has endure the punishment of such corporal punishment too. So that's one version. The second version of it is these two horizontal lines symbolize heaven and earth, and that's nature's element. And this pointed, downward pointed convex shape connected to that means having the element of nature pointing downward, going down. When the nature's energy going down, it means it's actually late in the season, that the warmth is sinking below, down to the earth. So that's close to the harvesting season. So you have the whole harvest, you have the whole farming time and space at sunrise and on top of the soil. And then you have the end of season harvesting when the warmth is sinking down to the earth. In either explanation, either enslaved labor or this downward going energy combined with the farming time and the place, the whole thing would make the concept of farming. And when it's farming, and especially it's a harvesting, harvest is farming paired with the metal sound means bell, because ancient times people would celebrate farming when it's done. Bell is run. At the beginning of the season, when we just plant things, when things just started, and it was used the instrument of drumming, because drums symbolize a shell, an empty shell, right? And at the beginning of the farming season, it will be the seed popping from the shell. So this out of the shell moment, kind of use that to symbolize, use drum to symbolize that, versus end of the season, the harvesting would be using this plant symbol, this warm air downward, end of season, and we use that to signify the bell. We use bell to signify the finish of this farming season. Okay. We have again drumming, drum set. So this high hanging oval, not oval, captivity, those empty shape is hand in the air instrument, drum set. And you're going to use your three finger hand symbol, some drum stick, knock on that. So that's ancient kind of a drumming, suppose, or percussion instrument. And this plant rising on top of the soil means upward standing. So it's a upward standing, percussion thing hanging up there, standing there. You're going to knock it. That's the music making thing. And then we have the music receiving by the ear, place the ear there. So the whole thing means sound. We have the sound source and I have the sound receiver. Only with the two things, both the beginning and the end, right? The producing and the receiving complete the whole sound mechanism to at least to humans. Okay. Now we have the candle. So this is kind of candle holder, and this almost like a pink ribbon kind of symbol upside down is a Chinese way to express the candle light. And candlelight together means whoever is the candle holder, is the light holder, is considered the leader, at least the thought leader, right? Who brings you light. And then we have this knife symbol. And together it means travel far to reach the destination. So I'm not sure the light has to travel far and the sound from the knife travel far, but together combined, that means a delivery of something, and it's kind of a far distance delivery. Okay, cool. We have this shelter again, a dome with a chimney, and then we have an individual or each concept. We have the mouse symbol, and then we have backward walking, because this is an ancient footwear shape, and then this elongated line is pointing backwards, because ancient times people are by default forward walking, meaning leftward walking, and this is the heel, this is toe. So the footwear is by default facing leftward. That means forward walking. But then we have this long line of pointing the other direction. That means it's backward walking. Backward walking next to the mouse symbol means you're not following somebody's order or speaking or direction. You're going your own way. And in that, you have your own individual thinking, thought, destination, interest, all that embedded into your walking backwards in spite of somebody saying something to you. Okay, that becomes individual. When you have your individual thoughts under that shelter, that means you don't belong there. You're not the owner of this place. You are going to go on your own way eventually, and that means you're a guest. Chuan will have this two-seater kayak-looking thing. So this is a vivid depiction of how the boat will look like. It's a simplification, but it's close enough to look like a boat, right? And then the right side means kind of a marshland, according to scholars. So this here, it means a separation, but here it means water, shallow water, sitting on top of this piece of land. So here with the two corners, it's the mouse symbol. But if it's only a smooth kind of rectangular or square shape with rounded corners, that abstract into a piece of land. But here with the corners, that means mouse symbol. And actually it came from the food container to two handles of the food container from the side view. And eventually it became mouse symbol because food container means we're going to eat, and that's associated with the mouse. Okay, land with water on top of it. So it's marshland, and altogether it means boat. By the kayak itself, it's already boat symbol. So now we have this boat over marshland, and I'm thinking probably it means ancient times it's a type of boat that's so shallow that it can travel on top of shallow water as a way to transport to probably a barge boat or something like that, so that it can travel over shallow place, and it serves the purpose of carrying something from a river to the land. And that type of boat then eventually to humans use. That's the floaty we see instead of a big big long distance travel or deep water traveling big boat, we use this shallow water travel boat as the boat generic symbol because that's closer to humans on the shore. That's the type of boat we're going to see. So altogether, says boat arrival at midnight. Well, I kind of changed my mind, actually. 夜半钟声到客船. Here, this 钟声, even if it's no connecting dots, as humans, we like to build this theory or connections between words, right? So here we have a 姑苏城外, this particular Suzhou city. Outside this city, there is this frozen mountain temple, and the 钟声, the bell sound, came from that temple. And at midnight, that bell sound reached the boat. My first swipe of the meaning, it means the boat arrived at midnight, but I'm not sure about the red light of flight in ancient Chinese. If red eye boat schedule was even a thing in ancient time. So would the boat actually travel through the night and only arrived in the destination during midnight? So that's one reading. The second reading would be the bell sound from that temple outside the city at midnight reached to this parked boat over there, that the boat is already anchored down. At nighttime, it's not traveling, but because this traveler have no home, right? I mean, outside the home, not no home. This traveler will stay on the guest boat as a temporary. So, I mean, the contemporary thing that we can relate to would be this cruiser lines. So all the people who pay money to sightseeing to different places to travel in comfort are going to stay overnight on the boat, which is a guest boat, 客船, right? And if there is a bell, from the bell sound from a certain monastery or temple far away in the mountain, all the way travel through the night air, this chill night air, to the eardrum of the guests on that boat. And that's how the traveler of this poet would feel. It's super quiet, it's chill, nobody else is awake, and the sleepless traveler have the sorrow 愁, and till after midnight, still couldn't fall asleep, still can hear the sound of the bell from that frozen mountain temple. That's the end of the story. Take as you go, but it's been recited by generations of Chinese. It must contribute it or help build our cultural world, talk about world building. So poems like this build a certain fantasy land for us. And in my mind, I've, always can come back to the world this poem builds in just 4 lines, 28 characters. All right, there you go. Thank you for your time. See you another day.